Hey, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in to another video. So today, I had no interest in doing my second workout for the day. I've had a bit of a day, I've got a hell of a headache. I just wasn't in the mood, to be honest with you. When I got back to my flat and I had the choice of change and get ready to work out or chill out on the sofa and watch an episode of Netflix, my brain was definitely going, well, my brain and my body actually were just going, listen, you've had a hell of a day, you've had a headache since 10 AM, you haven't eaten a hell of a lot. Probably best for you to just like rest it out, you know, take the easy road, chill, you'll be okay. But then that kind of got me to thinking, why did I put together the schedule that I've got currently? Why am I doing what I'm doing right now? And it's because on the 5th of November I'm participating in a pretty big event in the US, so I don't really have a choice in the matter. If I want to turn up to this event and do really well, I've got to be in good shape. I've got to do whatever needs to be done now in preparation for that. I've got 85 days from the point of recording this, and once the 5th of November comes around, well, there's no take backsies, there's no rewinds, there's no push pause so that I can get a little bit more training in preparation. Once that day comes, that's it, that's D-Day. That got me to where I needed to be in headspace wise to ensure that I could then push myself to do the second workout for the day. So that builds up quite nicely into what I actually want to talk about today, which is building that mental toughness muscle. Because it's quite easy, and we've all been there, where we have a choice of an easy option and a hard option. We know that the hard option is better for us, but the easy option is easier. And we end up going down that path rather than actually pushing ourselves to do whatever needs to be done in order to achieve what it is that we know we want to achieve. And then that day of reckoning comes, we're not quite ready for it, we don't get the results we kind of want, and then you're left with disappointment and kind of like, oh, poor me kind of effort, where deep down you know that, well, that one day that you came home and you had the choice between sitting on the sofa and getting that second workout in, well, you sat on the sofa, and that may have been the millimeter difference between getting the result you're wanting to get and not getting that result. So this all ties into that building of the mental muscle and getting you to a position where you can kind of shut your mind and your body up and just say, listen, I don't give a shit if you're not ready. I don't care that your legs are sore. I don't care that you trained legs this morning. It doesn't matter that you've had a headache since 10 o'clock this morning. It's all irrelevant. Like, it doesn't matter. We need to put this work in now for the betterment of our physique come the 5th of November and for the betterment of our fitness levels. So just get it done. Like, shut the fuck up and just do the work. I'm gonna have a quick shower, then have a bite to eat because I'm ravenous. And then from that point, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about mental toughness and doing what needs to be done even when you don't really feel like it.
All the choices you made, did you make them again?
Okay then, so well fed and well watered, good to go. Like I said in that little introduction, I want to cover being mentally tough and exercising that muscle in this video today. I think it's pretty apt considering the way I was feeling a little bit ago. Feeling a lot better now that I've actually done a little bit of exercise afterwards and had a bit of a feed and a little bit of water as well. So yeah, let's just crack into it, shall we? Step one in developing that mental toughness is understanding what it is you want. And this kind of goes back into some of the other videos that I've talked about as well, where I said you need to clearly define what your goals are, etc. And this plays heavily into mental toughness, because if you don't know what it is that you want, then you can't tie your focus to something. You can't tie that mental toughness to anything. And as a result, you're not going to be able to be driven enough to pursue whatever it is, because you don't have any goals in place in the first place. And the second step to this is to understand the why behind that goal, and that why is going to be pretty important. I hinted at, or I didn't hint, I flat out said that I've got this event on the 5th of November and that it's roughly 85 days away from today. But the why behind me participating in that event is pretty big, for me anyway. It then ties back into that being the best version of myself, being someone who doesn't just talk about living a healthy life. It's about someone who actually lives that healthy life. It's about being 100% accountable for the things that I say that I'm going to do. And in order to be in that state, this will be a good test as to how well I'm actually doing and how far along that path I am. So that is just one aspect of the why. Then there's loads of other aspects in terms of why do I want to be the best version of myself, because I can then provide better for my family. I can be a lot more successful. I can contribute a lot more to society and the world, etc., etc. So all of this plays into the why behind me setting that goal in the first place. If I didn't have a goal or a why, I have no reason to be mentally tough. So there's no point in actually working on my mental toughness, because anytime anything comes about, I have no real reason to challenge being lazy. Once you've understood your why and you've understood where you're going or what good looks like, you need to again understand where you are currently and what good looks like right now versus what good will look like in a future state. And this helps you then plot the path between where you are now and where you want to be. In doing that, you then have key little milestones that you develop over time, but you build yourself this little roadmap that can get you from where you are now to where you want to be. I don't think people understand how important this is. And the reason it's so important is because confidence builds confidence. So you've got this big grandiose plan. Well, that's super far away. So you need to break it down into smaller, more bite-sized pieces that you can then achieve over the course of the next 180 days or however long you're giving yourself to achieve this. And then you tick off those little pieces every single day. And this is where confidence builds confidence comes into play, because the more you tick off those little goals and those daily little checklists that you've put in place, the more confidence you get in your ability to achieve that end game, and the more confidence you get in yourself, because you've said you're going to do something, you've laid out a plan, and now you're meeting that plan by ticking off the tasks that you needed to do on a daily basis. Let's use an example, right? Let's say quickly that I want to be on the cover of Men's Health magazine. Me being on the cover of Men's Health magazine tomorrow is probably not very likely, because one, I don't think I have the right sort of physique for it, and two, I don't really have a big enough story to justify them putting me on the cover of the magazine. So the probability of it is slim. But if that was a goal of mine and I said, right, this time next year or whatever timeline I've decided, I'm going to be on the cover of Men's Health. Cool, now I know what the end game is. It's being on the cover of Men's Health. That's all good and well, but what can I do now that's going to get me one step closer to being on the cover of Men's Health in 5 years' time? Well, maybe that is doing 2 workouts today, or maybe that's eating clean today, or drinking enough water today, or just taking care of my body today, having an ice bath, whatever the case may be. But I have a plan that today I can do the following that's going to help me get from where I am now to where I want to be. The next step in this process is to actually pay attention to what it is that you're doing. So I don't know if you've heard this fact. This was the first time I'd ever heard it, just a few days ago. But the average person actually spends 50% of their day on autopilot. Like, to me, that's mind-blowing numbers. I mean, if you awake for 16 hours a day, 8 hours a day, you're kind of just going through the motions. You're not cognizant of what you're doing. The problem with that is that you're then not accountable for the decisions and the actions that are happening within that time. Because typically speaking, unless you've exercised this muscle, generally people will only accept accountability for the decisions that they've made with their conscious mind, not their unconscious mind. So now all of a sudden you've gone, okay, well, 50% of the day I'm kind of on autopilot. Therefore 50% of your actions are not in alignment with getting you from where you are currently to where you want to be, because naturally your brain wants to take the path of least resistance and kind of coast through. Up until I heard this fact, I didn't really realize I was doing it for this reason, but now that I heard the fact, I kind of put it all together and it kind of makes sense. But over the course of a day, I put triggers in place to then pull me out of autopilot mode. A little example of this will be like, let's say in the morning, if I wake up and I'm feeling super groggy and I'm kind of just going through the motions, I'll do something like I'll try and brush my teeth with my left hand, because all of a sudden that awakens a different part of my brain. I can't just do that on autopilot. Now I actually have to think about doing that and the motions that are involved with brushing my teeth with my left hand. So it pulls me out of this state of autopilot and it forces me to be cognizant of what I'm doing, and then I'm 100% accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I'm putting in place, etc. I encourage you over the course of a day to do this. I have reminders that go off on my phone on certain times of the day. You just trigger yourself and you get these little things going that then can ensure that you're not on autopilot and you're not just going through the motions. Because the reality is, if you're just going through the motions, the likelihood of you achieving the goals in your allotted time is significantly less, because you're not holding yourself accountable for any of the decisions that you're making and the actions that you're taking to get you closer to that goal. From that point, inevitably you're going to hit a brick wall of sorts. A brick wall is a point in time where you start questioning why it is that you're doing what it is that you were doing, and why you committed to whatever goal it was that you were committing, and is the work that you're having to put in really worth it, etc. And this is where I start asking myself some specific questions that then try and pull me out of this poor me state and ensure that I do what I need to do in order to get what it is that I want to get. The first question I ask myself is, am I okay with being average? One of the biggest things that will make me get off my ass and ensure that I do the work is if someone threatened me with being average. Being average scares the shit out of me. So like today, when I got back, I wasn't interested in doing my second workout. And I was literally on the fence as to whether I should just chill on the sofa and have a little nap. I could have edited some videos, could have done anything but have to do the workout. I started then questioning, am I okay with being mediocre? Am I okay with not achieving what it is that I want to achieve in November? Am I okay with failure? No, I'm not okay with any of that. Straight away then, I started telling my brain, well, if I'm not okay with that result, why do I think that it's okay now to rest or to not put in the work that I know I need to put in order to achieve the result that I want to achieve? The work that I've decided to do is the work I know I need to do in order to achieve the result. Why am I so arrogant and so full of shit to think that I can skip today and that I'm still going to get the same result? I've only got 85 days. Sounds like a lot of time, but it's that quick. You think about it now, right? We're in August. It was just the other day that it was January 1st and you were promising yourself that this was a new year and you were going to be a new version of yourself. Now it's August. How far along on that journey are you really? So it's only 85 days until I'm doing the event. So 83, 82 days until I'm jumping on a plane. Why am I so arrogant to think that I can skip one day now in the lead up to that and still achieve the results I want to achieve? It just doesn't happen. So I needed to pull myself towards myself and actually think, hang on, Byron, this needs to be done for a reason. You've laid out this plan for a reason. You've decided that this is a goal you need to achieve for a reason. Get your ass in the gym. Let's say now, right, today I decided actually I was okay with chilling on the sofa. Even after asking myself, are you okay with being average? And I decided, well, you know what, actually, yeah, I'm pretty much okay with being average today. The next question is, am I okay with the fact that this choice that I'm about to make could impact my future? And this one for me is pretty deep because you don't know whether it's going to impact your future until it's too late. Assuming we fast forward to the 5th of November, the only way I'm going to know whether the decision I made 85 days ago impacts that day is on that day. And by then it's too late to do anything about it. Now it'll feel like an okay thing to do because you can always bullshit yourself, and you will always bullshit yourself to think, well, you know what, actually, one day off is not going to be that bad. The other thing we often do is we end up then looking for other people to confirm our bias. Like, I know for a fact that if I want to avoid doing something, I can pick up the phone and I can chat to a mate, or I can chat to my mom and I can say, you know what, I just really don't feel like running today, or I don't feel like doing this today. I worked out really hard this morning, trained my legs, and I'm just feeling gassed. And they're gonna go, well, you know, you got to listen to your body, you need to rest as well, it's important to rest, blah blah blah. And they're right, they're 100% right. But at the same time, I know I'm capable of putting in that second workout. I'm just looking for someone else to make that decision for me, so inevitably I cannot be accountable for the decision. And then at day 85 or the 5th of November, I can go, well, you know what, it's not really 100% my fault, because a lot of people were saying that I had put in enough work and that I did enough, and you know, maybe it wasn't my time. And you can come up with any excuse under the sun, but the reality is there was days in the lead up to that 85 that you took half measures, or you didn't put 100% in the gym because you didn't feel like it. And then if that's not a big enough driving factor for why I need to remain mentally tough and to get this done, I then revisit my why, which is what I talked about at the beginning. Your why has to be bigger than yourself, because if it's just yourself, we've all got that self-sabotage button and we like to hit it every now and then just to see what happens. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know. But who else is impacted by the decision that you're about to make? Let's say, for instance, today I decided I didn't want to work out. The second workout for the day was not necessary. I'd prefer to watch Netflix. Justified if I've done one workout. A lot of people did no workouts today, so I could bullshit myself till the cows come home about the fact that I've already put in my work for the day. That bullshit excuse is not going to get me any closer to the results I want, but you can still use it. But the reality is, as soon as you start then putting the impact on other people, so one of my whys is I want to be able to provide for my family and put them in the best possible position that I can. You need to understand that the work you put in today has an impact further down the line. So I skip today, all of a sudden now I don't meet expectations in November. I end up not delivering to a level that I know that I should be delivering at, and I don't receive this opportunity, and in the long run, me and my family are worse off for it. Those are the kind of lengths that I go to, and the kind of thought process that I have when I'm prepared to give up on a certain number of activities that I've assigned myself for this specific day. And those all tie back into this mental toughness. And when you start asking yourself those kind of questions, you start realizing that it doesn't matter how tired your body is, it doesn't matter how tired your brain is. What's more important? doing what you can today to ensure that you get the results you want to get in the future, or listening to your body and going, well, actually, yeah, it's okay to just be mediocre, or it's okay to be average, or I'm okay with not meeting expectations, or I'm okay with letting my family down. Like, these are the sort of questions that I run through, and these are the kind of things that hold me accountable when I say I'm going to do something. This all then builds up on your integrity. You're probably sitting there now going, well, actually, I have loads of integrity. But the reality is, most of us have little to no integrity when it comes to the promises that we've made ourselves, those verbal commitments that we hold in our own head that we know we need to deliver on, but we don't, because it's easier just to chill out on the sofa, because no one truly knows that we've said that we're going to deliver these other than ourselves. Every single time you say, diet starts tomorrow, or my new workout routine starts tomorrow, and you don't do it, you chip away at that, at not only your integrity, but your confidence and your mental toughness. Because now next week when you go, diet starts Monday, somewhere in the back of your brain there's this little voice that goes, yeah, but you said that last time. And then Monday rolls around, your alarm goes off, your body's like, don't really fancy it, pal. And you're like, okay, well, there's always next week. And eventually you get to this point where you're like, you have this crisis of confidence because you don't hold yourself accountable for anything. Whereas if you go back to step one, which is what I put in place right at the beginning of this, understand your why, put the path in place, put the steps in place, meet them. That starts then just putting those building blocks back in place to build up your confidence levels, to build up your integrity, to build up that mental toughness that you need to have in order to start achieving your goals. The bigger thing at play here is that you start building up this track record of success, and all of a sudden you look at it and you go, well, I've done 20 days of closing out these activities. When the opportunity comes to skimp on it and to go, well, you know what, I don't actually need to do this today, you kind of look at it and you go, well, am I prepared to break a 20-day chain of being super disciplined and hunting down these goals and closing out these activities? And you start holding yourself to a higher standard, because now you're kind of going, no, I don't want to break this trend. You start enjoying who you're becoming. Your body posture starts changing. You start standing up taller, because now when you've said you're going to do something, you're fucking doing it and you're delivering on it. And then the final piece to this puzzle is to not look too far ahead. Yes, have one eye on the goal and make sure that that goal is still achievable and that you're still on the right path, but don't constantly be focused on that, because that'll overwhelm you. You won't look at how far you've come, you'll start looking at how far you still have to go. Versus if you have one eye on it and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, it's there, I'm still on the right path, but that's not your focus point. Your focus point is right here. What can I control today that'll get me that result at a later day? And you bring it all right back to the here and the now, and you just become present with everything, and you control the controllables within this moment. The chances of you not achieving the goal at the end of the day is slim to nothing, because you've done absolutely everything you need to do in the build up to that point to ensure that you can achieve that goal. And that's pretty much all I have for you in terms of mental toughness. I'm pretty process driven in the way that I think, so I break things down into processes as often as possible, and then I just replicate and repeat the process on a daily basis. And I've found that the way in which I've laid this out for you now is how I typically think and how I typically deal with ensuring that I'm mentally tough when it comes to doing things that I don't want to do. But the thing is, what you need to understand is that you do want to do it. It's just you're having a moment of weakness. You set out to achieve a goal. That goal is something you want. Therefore, the tasks that lead up to achieving that goal are tasks that you want to do in order to then get you closer to getting to where it is that you want to be. So just reframe the thought pattern around them, and don't think of them as tasks that you don't want to do. Think of them as tasks that are going to get you closer to where it is that you want to be. And that then starts a whole different mindset shift as well, and it starts making those tasks not as hard or not as taxing, because you're kind of like, well, I want to do this because I know that the result that I'm going to get off the back of doing this is going to build my integrity, it's going to build my confidence, it's going to build my mental toughness, and even better yet, it's going to get me one day closer to achieving the goal that I inevitably want to achieve. And then tomorrow, if you run into the same sort of hurdles, you follow the same process, and you don't think about going too far ahead and thinking, oh my god, I've got another 600 days of this shit or whatever. You just think about, what can I do today to get me closer? And you just focus on the here and now and the controllables that you can control at this moment in time, and just keep ticking those boxes. And before you know it, day 600 is right here, and you're staring in the face of whatever it is that goal you were trying to achieve is. You saw it coming from a distance because you had that one eye on the prize, but you were more focused on winning today and making sure that today was the best possible day that you could have in the build up to wherever it is that you want to be. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the content today. Hit the like button if you did, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, check that bell notification, do all that good stuff, and also drop a comment in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. I look forward to catching you all again soon. Cheers for now.